Don't watch this if you're eating right now. All right, you've been warned. Let's take a look at this video. So a student found a rat head in his food in the school cafeteria. And he showed it to the worker there. But the worker kept denying it's rat and insisted that it's duck meat. And the student said there's teeth, there's hair, but the worker kept saying it's duck meat, duck meat, duck meat. And take a look at this comparison photo. It's very clear what it is, right? But the even more gross question is, if this student found the head, then what happened to the body, the rest of the body, and where did it go? But worry not. Soon after this, the school officials, the local law enforcement, the district's Market Supervision Bureau all sent out experts to investigate this issue. And it was declared a duck neck, which is a common edible delicacy in Chinese cuisine. It actually doesn't matter what you think it is, what this thing actually is. If you live in communist China, you better agree this is a duck neck, not a rat head. I know this is hard to swallow, no pun intended. I grew up in communist China. Let me explain how this works. So it happened on June 1st this year. A student at the Jiangxi Industry Polytechnic College found a rat head in his food. Well, he tried to argue with the worker at the school cafeteria. Of course, the worker insisted it was duck. So the student posted this video online trying to get others' opinion on this. Things like this happen very frequently in China. It wasn't a big deal until 2 days later, the school decided to cover it up. So on June 3rd, the college issued a statement claiming that the object found was not a rat's head, but a piece of duck neck. On the same day, an official at the district's Market Supervision Bureau appeared on the Jiangxi radio and television station saying the same thing. At the same time, this student is forced to make a video showing a written apology stating that he was wrong, it's actually a duck neck, not a rat head, and he had to apologize through his video to everyone and post this online. So far, it seems like the school has succeeded in covering this thing up and has won the battle. However, this enraged the internet and the video went viral. The school was able to shut the student up and force him to apologize, but the internet was not buying it. They're making comparison photos and they are clearly seeing this as a rat head. And what enraged the internet and the netizens is the fact that the school insisted on that this being a duck meat or duck neck. Even the local officials and the Market Supervision Bureau are all backing the school up. Since they didn't allow people to tell the truth, some netizens went very creative and invented a new mythical creature called the duckrat. And it soon became a meme, and this new species, the duckrat, was shown in many forms on the internet. And some other netizens found similarities between this incident with a historical incident that happened in ancient China a little more than 2,000 years ago. So during the Qin dynasty, the very first dynasty in ancient China, there was a very powerful prime minister called Zhao Gao. He was planning a coup against the emperor he was serving, but didn't know who in the emperor's court was on his side. So one day, he brought in a deer into the emperor's court and told the emperor, "This is a horse." The emperor was laughing and told him, "Well, this is clearly not a horse, but a deer." So Zhao Gao turned to all the officials in the emperor's court and asked them, "What do you think this is?" Some officials kept silent. Some officials knew what Zhao Gao wanted to hear and agreed with him, saying this is a horse, not a deer. But some other officials stood their ground and told the emperor what they're seeing is a deer, not a horse. So after this incident, Zhao Gao learned who is on his side and who's not. And then he executed all the officials who insisted that this is indeed a deer, not a horse. And since then, all the officials that survived the incident were afraid of Zhao Gao. And in the end, the emperor that he served was forced to commit suicide by Zhao Gao. So this incident was known as 指鹿为马in Chinese, which means calling a deer a horse. After the rat head incident went viral, some Chinese citizens created a new idiom called 直鼠为鸭, which means calling a rat a duck. Both of these idioms have the same meaning, which is deliberately peddling a falsehood. But there is a major difference between these two. The ancient idiom happened in a court. It's part of a political struggle. It was the prime minister forcing all of the court members to agree with him instead of the emperor. In this modern case, though, it's clearly the school and the local district, as well as the government, trying to force everyone, all of its citizens, to agree with the government. So the scale is not within the court anymore, it's on the entire society. So what happened is, anyone who dared to oppose the official statement saying this is not a rat but a duck had to face dire consequences. For example, the student who first posted the video on the internet, he was forced to have a written statement saying he was wrong and had to make another video to apologize and post it online. After the incident went viral, an elementary school teacher made a video to his students. Okay, he showed the students, what do you think this is? And the student said, it's a rat. But the teacher told the student, I'm telling you, this is a duck. Whoever think I'm wrong, raise your hand. And then after that, he said, everyone who raised your hands earlier, you have to run a lap around the field. Now I give you a second chance. If you still think I'm wrong, raise your hands. And only a couple students this time are raising their hands. He told the kids who raised their hands this time to come to the front. But instead of criticizing these students who raised their hands again, he actually praised them for having the courage to speak up and having the ability to think independently. He used running a lap as a punishment to see who would go with what's clearly wrong. I find it very interesting because from the experiment, you clearly see the majority of the students decided to go along with what the teacher is saying, agreeing this rat is a duck. But only a few of them decided to stick with their answer. Imagine if the teacher actually gave punishment to the few students who insisted on telling the truth. What will happen next time when something like this happens? So this is like a reenactment of what happened during the Cultural Revolution. During the Cultural Revolution, the 10-year period, people were forced to say everything the government and Chairman Mao was saying without having a brain. They were following orders like a zombie, and they were repeating whatever they were told to say and yelling it with full force because that's the only way to survive. During the Cultural Revolution, if you dare to have a second opinion, or even if you dare to keep silent, you yourself and your family members and everyone that's close to you could lose their lives. So after the 10-year period of the Cultural Revolution, the entire generation, all Chinese population, were trained to believe and follow what the government is saying blindly without ever questioning otherwise. The younger generation today, they've never been through that. They've never faced consequences like this. So they don't know how evil and how brutal the communist society work. What I think the teacher is doing is very precious. He's teaching his students to have independent thinking and insist on telling the truth and don't back down just because they're threatened by authorities. But the irony is, shortly after he posted this video, he was forced to take the video down and make an apology video about what he did. This is the reality when you live in communist China, when you are watched, listened, monitored all the time. A lot of people think China has improved so much over the years, but the reality is in today's China, it's still a life and death decision whether you obey the government or not. And a lot of people have disappeared after posting some comments against the party, against the government, against the policies, or anything that the Chinese Communist Party finds as a threat to the government. So through this incident, the younger generation is getting a taste of the true color of the CCP again. Thank you for watching. I'm Ali, and I'll see you next time.